That's what it's always been. Wow. Wow, this is fabulous. I am so glad to see so many people here tonight. I'm Jeff Schwab, and I'm president of the Board of Governors for the Historical Association. This is one of our 5 facilities. It's called the History Center. We do have on the table up here some membership brochures and programs of the rest of the year. If you're not a member of the Historic Association, I really encourage you to consider it. Join us. We are a community organization, and having your involvement, this many people, would be fabulous to have you on board and help us with our mission of preserving and interpreting the history of our great county. First, before we get started, so that's the commercial. I would like to take this moment to introduce Claire Eagle, who is our new executive director. She just started this month. And she's going to be responsible for all the fabulous things that happened with the Historical Association over the coming years. There's a couple chairs left on the far side. How about you be in the other room? We had, due to technical, we're here. So now I'd like to, without taking any more time, introduce Dave Sattler, who I think if you're here, you know, cartoonist extraordinaire for the Journal and Courier, the mainspring behind Lafayette printing forever. And
Regenerations.
so he is going to come tell us about all the fun he had drawing and, where the cat came from.
The cat, right.
And the cat. So thank you all very much for attending. Like I said, their membership brochures, please consider joining. And thank you all for making this a huge success tonight.
Thank you, Jeff. Well, again, I thank you also for showing up. I wasn't really sure how many would show up, but this is a nice crowd. There's a couple people I want to. There's one of them right there. That's right. I wanted to call out here because first of all, there are 2. Is Dave Banger here yet? No, 2. There are 2 Journal and Courier former employees. When I was there, we've got John Norberg someplace. John Norberg, columnist, writer, reporter. And the other one is Kevin Cullen someplace. Kevin, raise your hand right there. Oh, Kathy Matter. We got stand up. These people were the real workers there. And I remember, I was just I didn't really work there. I turned them in. They paid me, don't get me wrong, but I was not on their payroll. And I remember thinking how cool it was that these people actually put out a paper every stinking day, and they're all part of that. So, and there was a lot more to that. But one other person I want to call out is one of our county commissioners, Dave Byers. Dave, stand up, Dave. Dave's one of 3 that runs the county, so he does a pretty good job. So got a couple of questions before we start. First of all, how many people have lived in Tippecanoe County, lived in Lafayette, let's say lived in the Lafayette area for 20 years? 30, 40, 50? Not bad. That's good. I asked that because that's important. If you're going to understand any of these. I was asked to do this, and I stupidly agreed to do it. South Newton High School senior journalism class. And so I get up there and I realize, wait a minute, these people don't know anything about Tippecanoe County, and they're 17, 18 years old. And so I show these cartoons, they're going, what is this? I said, and it was a total waste of their time and mine. So it's important that there's people that understand this stuff. So, and again, how many here are not TCHA members? You can raise your hand. Just here. All right. I'm going to offer a deal at the end of this thing that may entice you. Maybe not. So let me talk again about my arrangement with the Journal and Courier. It was very unusual. Journal and Courier circulation in its heyday, and John and might know, and Kevin, 46,000, something like that. Is that about right? Whatever. But that's not nearly enough for them to have their own cartoonist. And so back in the day, the big newspapers, at one point in time, there was probably 250 working full-time cartoonists around the country. And the Journal and Courier back in 1968 was when they hired me. 1968, when they hired me, I was 20 years old. And but they were very, very progressive, I thought. And George Lamb was the guy I dealt with, and Jack Scott was the publisher at the time, and they wanted to have a cartoonist if they could find one. And so the issue was money. That's why you normally wouldn't have them in a small newspaper like Lafayette. The second issue would be finding a cartoonist. There aren't very many cartoonists, and I'd like to ask you all, how many cartoonists do you know? Well, that's it. I've been doing this for a while. I know people that I would say are my friends that I would call up and talk to them, maybe 4, 5. I mean, they're just, and that's because there's no way to learn to be a cartoonist. There's no school that teaches cartooning that I know of. I saw there was a correspondence course that you could subscribe to or sign up for. And I thought, well, what's this all about? I checked it out, and one of the classes was lettering. I'm going, lettering? How long does it take to learn how to letter a cartoon? 15 minutes? I mean, it didn't make any sense at all. And so there really aren't very many cartoonists at all. That's not to say that again, most are all self-taught. Gary Barville, Indianapolis Star, who's an excellent artist. I'm not wild about his politics, but we're friends. And he went to John Herring. I, on the other hand, had no art training. As a matter of fact, and I shame to say this, but I was kicked out of art class as a freshman after 2 weeks, and told I couldn't finish the year, or my sophomore or junior or senior year. I was banned from art. You say, well, what did you do, Dave? Well, the art teacher had to be at least 8 inches, about this tall. And you're wise guy, freshman, and basically I was a wise guy. And in class, I slapped a kid in the face, watercolors with a paintbrush. He was sitting next to me. We were in the cross country. Hey, turn on. Got him just like that. It was pretty cool. And the principal saw the whole thing through that little glass window. He opens the door, says, Dave, I want to see it right now. He said, you plan on taking art here at this Dayton High School? Not there anymore. And I said, yeah, I'm thinking about it. He said, no, you're not. You're done. You're done right now. And so that was it. And so that's anyway, that's why I didn't go to any art school. One other thing I would tell you about the Journal Courier, the arrangement we had was pretty good, and that was that they never had anything to say about what I drew. They did not tell me what to draw about, how to draw it, what to say, nothing. And that was my choice, their choice. On the other hand, it's their paper. So if they didn't like it, boom, they nuke it. And so we're going to show you some of those here tonight too, that they nuke. Dave Banger, is he here? Did he get here? He said he's going to fact check it because he was the one that nuked a couple of them, and in most cases they were pretty right. All right, let's get into this. First one we're going to talk about was on. By the way, these are not Chronicle or oral. This is March 20th, 1982. Remember when Girl Scout cookies were a big deal? I mean, they're still big, but back then, somebody in your office would bring in a sheet, you had to fill it out, and because they were for Girl Scouts, you always felt like, well, we could buy 6 or 8 boxes, and then they all showed up at one time. It didn't like now you could go to Payless or somebody outside in a card table doing it, but it was a big deal. So this was again, hope this works. Second time this week, OD'd on thin mints. So this would have obviously been a Saturday. I mean, we when they started Sunday paper, I went from Saturday to Sunday. So this was Saturday. So I go to work at Lafayette Printing, and Monday morning I get this. Somebody says, "Hey, Dave, it's the Girl Scouts on line 3." So I pick it up and they say, "Mr. Sattler, yes, we really like the cartoon." Good. Can we have the original? Picking up Moscow here. Well, anyway. Oh. Anyway. So I said, yes, you can have the original cartoon. Come down and get it. They came down and get it and brought me 2 cases of thin mints. Way more than newspapers paying me back. It was pretty cool. February 6th, 1985. Again, we're jumping around here. Remember when everybody smoked any place they wanted to? And the courthouse was the first time they said, they didn't say you couldn't smoke in it. They said you had a designated spot. And that was this one right here. There's a little pigeon out here. He's smoking there on the end. And I'm sorry, it says, so this is the designated smoking area for the courthouse. Going out on the dome. January 20th, now we're up to 2002. This was a year after September 11th, but the courthouse installed new x-ray machines. This is the first time. Obviously, they're getting in charge and serious about their security. And at the same time, this one is the new courthouse x-ray machine could help county citizens on cost. I have to take a look at my hip, bailiff. Next one, June 24th, 2001. This was the very first one that I ever used. Somebody, this is Dave Banger, gave me this suggestion. So if he's here, I was going to give him credit for that. You remember the frozen custard? You remember Eleanor? Yeah. Who doesn't know who Eleanor is? She was a cone lady. She's a cone lady. And anyway, and apparently in 2001, they developed their first drive-through, and this is the drive-through at the frozen custard. You can't get the fruit drink at this line. It's for cones only. Now get in the other line. You know, they were serious about that. You stand in line, you ask for a shake. This is the cone line, man. March 3rd, 1996. Now this is kind of interesting. Take a look at this. 3-year growth study on the common horse hoops bush produced these results. Plant P, alive, doing extremely well due to good starter seeds and lots of excellent nursery. Plant I, not doing so well. A withering of ways have had too much fertilizer applied. Now then the follow-up is this: some guy in Attica. Papers Purdue bias makes me readers sick. I nearly vomited. Now the other one didn't say anything. It said P and I. It didn't say Purdue, didn't say you. He nearly vomited. I said, you know, I'm sitting here in Lafayette with paper and pencil. I draw something. I can make a guy in Attica puke. Talk about power. Draw puke. Draw puke. You know, I mean, poor guy.
Did you ever meet him?
No. You know, I'm a friend of yours. You know, anyway.
That's him.
Is that him? Is that you? No. September 30th, 1984. Purdue was trying to find a cost-saving medical clinic for the employees, looking for a prime location. And this is a suggestion here. Whoops. Whoa. 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 That jumped out of it. That's way out of order. No, I turned a page wrong. Jeez, Dave. All right, skip that. Pretend I didn't hear that. July 11th, 1993. Blue Chips movie. Remember that? Shot it in Frankfurt. We had, Shaquille O'Neal, Bob Cousy, Bob Knight. I mean, everybody was in it. Dick Vitale. And the town of Frankfurt was making a killing because everybody had some link to that. And this is what, actual souvenir blue chips, $5. A bucket of blueberries is all it takes. You have to think about that. June 10th, 2002. Lindbergh Road, remember that? I mean, it was, geez, how many times it was flooded, then they pave over it, like you could pave over the water. That's not gonna work. And this is an engineering school here, you know. Finally, what they have, but it was closed forever. And this one is, I call this my time lapse cartoon. Get it? Get it? Get it? The tree, get it? Yes. There's always sort of slow. Everybody figures it out. Right, back to the Purdue cost saving. This is their solution here was Purdue Veterinary Small Animal Clinic and employees. Most cats and you. Now, the bottom right-hand corner, you see the little cat. That is Boo the cat. And Boo the cat was my real cat. He was some rescue cat. He was a mess when we got him, but he was weird because he was like a dog. He just followed me around the house. You know, it wasn't like a regular cat. And every time I drew a cartoon, and most of the time these are drawn usually at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, something like that. And he'd be there, right on the floor, right there. And so I don't know when it was. It wasn't this one. Earlier than this, I just put him in there just for fun. And people would watch. He's not in every one. People would watch for him, but he was he was anyway. I would guess that he was probably in, I'm going to say 75 cartoons. You know, I don't know. I mean, there's just too many of them. Anyway, the next one. This is we have a person in July 30th, 1985. Remember the Arth drugstores?
Yeah.
Is there a Tom Arth here? I see Tom Arth. He's here. And his family sold out to Osco. Is that correct? All right. And everybody was concerned. Oh my, we don't have a local Oscos. What's that all going to mean? And so, as a former Arth customer, I know you're concerned about being a number here. I assure you that's not the case. You're a barcode. This is when barcodes were just coming out. And so I get a call from Shirley Ragsdale. Shirley Ragsdale was what Dave Banger was. She was in charge of the editorial page, and she didn't like me at all. And I don't understand why. But she says, Dave, the Osco lawyers are very upset about this. And going around. And she says, you need to be more careful. I said, I need to be more careful. You're the one who put in the paper. Anyway, then Monday, I also get a call from Steve Klink. See Steve Klink. Anyway, Steve Klink. Oh yeah, Steve Klink's in New York. Said, hey Dave. Pretty funny cartoon. They ran Wells Jaeger Best. That was his family. I said, thanks, Steve. He says, Frosted Flakes. I said, what? Frosted Flakes. Yeah, you're right. The barcode was for Frosted Flakes. I can't draw a barcode, and so I cut it off a box of cereal. And I said, Steve, you have too much time on your hands. He took the paper into his work, scanned it because he's dying to know what that barcode was. And this, the original Tom has the original. Yes, he does. And I think you gave me a bottle of Blanton's for that. Yes, you did. A bottle of Blanton bourbon. Very nice, Steve. All right, Tom. I could use another one. Okay, November 18th, 2012. Getting a little newer here. How many people go to Purdue basketball games? Okay, that's a problem. Because anyway, at the right after the beginning of the second half, the band would play something, and then and they just set them up for it, and the crowd would go, "Oh, you sucks," and they did every game, and Morgan Burke was a friend of ours. And he says, "Yeah, we got to stop this." I said, "Well, good luck on that. I mean, as soon as we say stop it, they're going to want to do it more, And so it was kind of an issue because it was, kind of an issue that was maybe a problem here. Here we got as a fear of the paint was lost count 1, 2, 3, little tight piece of action. And it was addictive, February 8th, 2001. Now this is a new, I had put this story, put this in here because I forgot about this one. 2001, there for some reason was a slew of hundreds of crows downtown Lafayette, and they were everywhere. And I don't know how long it lasted, but I found I knew they had a cartoon. I don't know why I did it. I found the story about it. It was a big deal. I mean, they were everywhere, and it was just taking up space. And so, and a real nuisance. Here we go. I'll read this one to you. I wonder why there are thousands of crows here roosting here. And I also wonder why it's always raining when they're here. I have no idea. And this is not rain. Yeah. Okay. August 12th, 2007, City of Lafayette hired a company to paint the curbs yellow. And, they could roll them on. I think they hired somebody with a spray gun, subcontracted out, and call this collateral damage. Yeah, they did. They sprayed it everywhere. I mean, it was out of control. October 20th, 2006, Halloween. And again, this time of year, I would sometimes almost do some sort of themes, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Easter. This was a Halloween one, but it probably shouldn't have done it. The new season, Halloween costumes for obese kids, bowling balls, Christmas ornaments, Swedish meatballs, and ball of spring. And because there's a big story about kids eat too much, and so then we got some letters to the editor from Mom. Try walking shame on you, Dave Sattler. And again, I get it, and I get it. And I probably should. Sometimes you do these things, then 2 days later, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. So they're not happy. December 4th, 2001. Highland Park asked the city to have speed bumps put in Highland Park there. Frank Donaldson's over there, he knows what I'm talking about. And I remember thinking, why there? Why not in front of my house? Why don't we have speed bumps in front of everybody's house? Who do they think they are? And we called it Highland Park. It's these snob bumps ahead. And I did hope I did hear from Joe Bumbleberg about that. All right, August 23rd, 2009. This was second here. There were some people, and I think it was Highland Park also, they were going to raise chickens, hens. Notice the hens, they were for eggs. That's people do that. We have neighbors, we live out in the country, but we have people that have their own chickens. And the city said no. And they said that the chickens are a nuisance. And I said, well, chickens can be such a nuisance. Yeah. Now the dog over there on that right, so got a leg left. We know what he's doing there. Okay. This dog here looks like he's scratching his rear on the tree. Yeah. There originally was a deposit underneath the dog. And Nancy Sattler, you here? Right back there. She says, geez, Dave, you don't have to put the poop there for it. Come on, So the beauty of Photoshop, the poop's gone, So anyway, so all right, oh, here's another one. This is a pretty neat one. March 14th, 1999. This is right in the middle of March Madness. And Remember, first graders, this NCAA pool using your milk money will be our little secret. Yeah. February 25, 1998. This is Lafayette National Bank, and most of the banks have had, numerous owners, just constantly who is it today? And this had been NBD and is now Bank of whoever currently owns us. And Dave Francis has this cartoon because he was at NBD at the time, so he asked for it. He got it. December 8th, 1996. Christmas parade is a no-brainer for a cartoonist because it's first of all, everybody knows about it. There's a bazillion things you can do, and I did most of them. And this was the Christmas parade of marching mail order catalogs. And then 2009, we had, this is a big on TV, as seen on TV, marching Snuggies. There's the gas, see Boo over there on the side? Yeah. All right, he's there. And then we had marching tangled Christmas lights. Boo. That's the end of it, though. That's all I got. March 20th, 2016, Mitch Daniels was looking for a way to save Purdue student food services. So here's Mitch thinking, oh, it's bam. Yeah, that'll do it. August 6, 2006, it was a very hot time. And how hot was it? How hot was it? Well, it's been said. I noticed the lady on the courthouse now has changed shorts, holder top, and flip flop. February 11th, 2007. Snow days. Everyone knows what snow days. Everybody loves snow days, except when's dinner? I'm on a 2-hour delay. Who the cat? March 4th, 2009, Round the Town Art Fair. That's another classic. You can, everyone knows it. You have to know what's going on. And so this one was actually sitting right over there. Yes, this is the best way to find something that matches a couch. Cat's there again. State Fair. August 7th, 2016. State Fair, you go down there to see the cows and the pigs, but you also go down to do what? Eat food. And eat stuff that's not good for you, deep fried butter, things like that. Well, they have this one here was a farm fresh deep fried kale on a stick, Kids aren't looking for that. July 19th, 2009. The Purdue Archives, first of all, Purdue had most of all of Neil Armstrong's papers. They also got some of his personal items. And the person that handled that is Samuel Morris. Maybe know her. She's a lovely lady over there. They found one thing else: homework papers, textbooks, slide rule, and we found his fake ID he used to get into heroin. Maybe he never did that. I don't know. April 2nd, 2006. This was the first time, the first time that Indiana went to daylight savings time. Big deal. Oh my gosh, how do you change the worst one was the VCR player, how do you change that? And so I did this, this is my helpful hint here. It's really 1 hour later. So you can cut these out and paste it on your thing. Now, the thing about this is, it was several weeks later. I went to there's friends of ours, but I saw it, and they didn't do this because of me. It was actually out of the way. They had a VCR over there, and he had the thing pasted to it. So it worked. That worked. You have to change anything. Like that little sign. This one's got Mr. Byers in it, Dave. Pay attention. This is when they were. Remember when we totally renovated the courthouse? Everything, including the statue on top, everything. and the county commissioners, Mr. Tracy Brown and Murtaugh and Byers. We picked the paint and then told them to make sure the lady looked nice. Not exactly what we had in mind. Murtaugh, Byers, and Brown. Did you say that, Dave? Is that what you really said? Okay, just checking here. Feast Hunter's Moon. I've done numerous ones of that because it's everybody knows about it. It's just kind of a strange thing. You go from your air conditioned car to walk around, and there's people with tomahawks and guns, and it's just and food. Another thing, it's big there. Due to the dry conditions, we are cooking our roasted squirrel chowder on ye old microwave. Here is another one, another feast one. This is 2012. So this is 13 years later. It's in color now. Geez, I should have known to take the roundabout to get to the Buffalo Burgers, hot cider and squirrel gizzard stew. There's a cat there. Okay. This is a big deal just because I-step was a nightmare for everybody. My wife's a teacher, fifth grade teacher over there, and for the kids, everybody. And this giant ugly I-step, these are nightmares. I-step monster kept chasing me, and this giant ugly I-step monster kept chasing me, and the giant ugly I-step monster kept changing me. All of them, student, parents, teachers, administrators, because of the I-step test. So
That worked.
January 23, 2001, State Fair decided, hey, here's an idea. Let's sell booze. Let's sell booze there. I mean, what can go wrong? Here's a few things that go wrong. Great old time. February, there's a cat there, but he's not drinking. February 27, 2011, Democrats in Indianapolis, they were in session and they got crosswise with Republicans. And I don't ask me what the topic was, doesn't matter. But they all decided what we're going to do is we're going to boycott this. And they all went to Illinois. Remember that? Even Sheila went to Illinois. And here she is. If you want to play Barbie like I want to play Barbie, then I'm going to Urbana. Just like Now, the beauty of Sheila is, and everybody knows her, is she had a great sense of humor, and she didn't get pissed off about anything. I mean, at least that I saw. She'd say, "Dave, you got me on that one. Can I get a copy of that?" Sure. She honestly, she's probably furious, but she didn't show it. I think she generally thought, what the heck, it's a small town. Mother's Day, May 12th, 2013. Happy Mother's Day. Pick these for you out, and these are lots more when I got these. Thank you, honey. I love them. Make a note to pick up some We'd Be Gone. April 25th, 2010. First day of spring. And I just love this time of year to hear the wonderful smells of spring. Yep, nothing like says fresh scent like Turf Builder 2, some We'd Be Gone, and a hint of Grub X. That's down there. March 2nd, 2008. This one, the Big Ten was negotiating with the cable news. And it wasn't going well. It was everybody's jockeying for position and everything, and so the fans were upset about this. Disgruntled Boilermaker fans redesigned the logo. Big Ten not work, And Morgan Burke, Morgan, what'd you think of that? And he showed me a finger. Saying which one? He showed me a finger. I get it, Morgan. It wasn't his doing at all. Okay, here's one. This is a good one. March 4th, 2012. It was again, this was it would have been Sunday paper. And Purdue was playing IU at home. And it's a perfect day. It was kind of a cold day. And let me show you why this is significant. Purdue IU basketball today, rematch today, historic rivalry, Boilers playing Inspire basketball, IU beats Purdue 70-61 in February, comfy sweatshirt, beverage of choice, fire and fibers, chips, old slippers, historic, blah, 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 favorite chair, chips. What's that say? Well, HD TV. Okay. Now, if you follow these, you would guess that's probably Dave and Nancy. And I bring this up and Nancy Sattler says, nope, nope. What's the problem? What's Nancy holding on hand? Martini or whatever. And she says, Hershey School, and they, I'm not going to do it. You got to do it. Fix it, Dave. And I said, okay, this is what we end up came a little better, and change it to some iced tea. So, I mean, Nancy Sailor well, I had two people editing. One was Nancy Sailor, one was Dave Banger, or whoever the person was, Shirley Ragsdale or something. And she'd always say, I said, what do you think of this? She goes, it's okay. Or I don't get it. Why? So she had the last say. Another one where she changed it. 6 in the morning. You're right. June 10th, 2012. The Purdue trustees were trying to find a new president, who ended up, of course, being Mitch. And the media wanted to follow how this is going on. And I guess they have to give some sort of you have to give them a location of where you're meeting. And the location they gave meeting was O'Hare Airport. So the meeting's going, what we're going to do now? What we're going to do now? Well, anyway, this is them meeting at O'Hare. Let's review the notes from our last meeting. And we get a call from Joanne Briette, one of the trustees, and she says, is that me, the third one? So, sure it is. David Bodiah, 2012, August 20th, 2012. David Bodiah, Olympic hero. Everybody we were all motivated to be just like David Bodiah. Everybody, They have small, tiny, and tiny. I'm not sure why Boo's at the store there, but he is.
He did these at 2 in the morning, and what the role that Boo had to play in that.
Well, yeah, Boo. Okay. The reason is because towards the end, I could read them digitally, and at 2:30 in the morning, the Journal and Courier would change from Thursday. I drew these on Friday. So Thursday's paper is there until 2:30 in the morning, 2:31, boom, it's Friday's paper. So I could see Friday's paper at 2:31 in the morning and see if anything changed. And there were times, there's one time I changed altogether. I pitched one I was getting ready to do and did something different because that was a bigger story. It's about when St. Joe College realized they were bankrupt. And I was like, what? You didn't know this, And Boo the cat he would, honestly, I'm not making this up. This cat apparently knew it was Friday. On Friday morning, he would come in the bed at 2:50 in the morning. He didn't have a clock. I don't think, but for some, this is not making this up. And and he would wake me up and go, oh yeah, okay, Boo, okay. I go make some coffee and go draw things. So Boo was critical. Boo is not with us anymore, but he was a good buddy. This is an interesting one. September 16, 2001. Does that day sound familiar? 5 days after September 11th. And everybody said, Dave, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I said, I don't know. What are you gonna do? My kids, Dad, what are you gonna do? I don't know. Let me think about it. So I did one and turned it in to Dave Banger, and he said, I don't think so. Here. I'm not showing it. I didn't bring it. Nobody's seen it, but Dave Banger, myself, Nancy Sattler. He said, if you want to do one for Sunday, you got 2 hours. Okay, 2 hours. All right. So I race home and drew this. It's actually the front of, the reason I put this in here because it's got an interesting story to it, is this is the front of our house. And so whenever you see them, speak them firmly, speak them boldly, speak them gratefully, I'm an American. And I had people say, what's that?
No.
If you didn't go to basketball or football game, you wouldn't know. And it's one of those things where I'm thinking, well, everybody knows that. No, they don't, and so they knew it was a nice little saying, but they didn't know where it came from. So those things you think everybody knows and they don't. So April 17th, 2011. Now, this is a great one because that was the Saturday before this Saturday, 1 week earlier, they had the spring football game. The spring football game, they were introducing the new Purdue Pete. You remember any of that? And I wasn't there, but they said the old Purdue Pete, the guy we think is Purdue Pete, runs out, hands the hammer to the new Purdue Pete. There's like a puffball guy, and it was. And people were boo, they were booing him off there, and that was so. And I heard this on a Monday that you had been there. It was unbelievable. People were booing him off the field, the new one. And by Thursday, Tom Schott comes out and says, "No, we're canning that guy. Don't worry about it." I mean, it was so much, the lesson is don't mess with the mascot. Don't mess with the mascot. So this is right after that. What a weird dream. I had to change into an Asian Cabbage Patch doll. This is exactly what they said, with Kleenex boxes for shoes, and everyone was booing me. Then I woke up. If you saw the original of this, not that it matters, that this whole thing was done. And he didn't have a hammer anyplace. So I added the hammer over there and then just empty basket. Basket was closing just because it's filler. When you're looking at something like that, you need some filler. That's just stuff. That's just insider stuff there. All right, what do we got? Okay. September. Oh, German Fest. St. Boniface. Who has been to the St. Boniface German Fest?
Yeah.
Huge deal. Huge deal. This is the morning congregation at St. Boniface after the last night at the popular German Fest. Not paying attention. All right, here's one. How about this one? Do you remember when I-65 was closed at the Wildcat Creek, across the Wildcat, because the bridge was like unscrewed or something, something wrong with it, That was a big deal. What happened? Well, they had to detour everybody on 52 into Romney and then north on 231 up. And it was a huge deal. I mean, Romney's going, where are all these people coming from? And they had one gas station and one little restaurant there. And so they started bringing in porta johns, because all these people want to take a whiz, and so, and I was thinking, I was trying to help out Romney. Every little town has a fest. There's Frankfurt, of course, has a hot dog fest. There's a sweet corn fest, a blueberry fest up north. I mean, every town has a way to bring people in and make some extra bucks. And I thought, surely we could have Romney with a porta john fest. First game, food fun. Romney's around the compound. Meet Johnny the mascot. Buy a cool souvenir keychain, and hopefully the first annual will be the last annual. And now this is what ran the paper. That's not what I turned in. What I turned in was this one with ice cream treats. But the issue was, I said, so Dave Banger, he says, Dave, it's brown. That's the issue. I said, oh yeah. I mean, honestly, I was saying chocolate, He goes, no, it's brown. It's a porta john. So and that's one where he said, I said, okay, I get you. I get it. January 15, 2017. This is kind of a crazy story. Lafayette a Lafayette Community Church, that may be the name of Lafayette Community Church. Yes, it is. Bought Phillies, the strip bar out on Concord Road. Remember that? Yeah. What? Yeah. I mean, and these people here, they're legit. It's all a legit thing. They just bought the building. They didn't buy it. They bought the building. The guys who didn't get the message. So I take it Bambi, Tiffany, and Crystal aren't here anymore. Then I had people ask me, where'd you get those names, Dave? I Googled, honestly, I did. You can look it up. All right, April 2nd, 2017. This is when the city agreed to preserve as many brick streets as they can, and it was a big deal. And they took the ones out on 6th Street by in front of the Journal Courier. They hoped that they would save those. They didn't. They paved that over. But anyway, this was hopefully a little respect. High five. And it's the first time I've ever had bricks doing high five. Now, the interesting thing about this is the last cartoon that was ever published in the Journal Courier by me, because I was nuked right after that. And so this is the last one. Then there's this topic. That's not funny. And people say, well, no, they're not all funny. They're not really. And can you do stuff that's not, yeah, I can do stuff that's not funny. This one here was a very popular one. The day you realize you should have spent more time with your dad. And people thought it was about me and my dad. I worked with my dad for 15 years. It was fine. He was my hero. He's a war hero. It was that I wanted people to understand if you've got some rift between them, you got to deal with it. You got to deal with it, because once they're gone, you're sitting there in a chair like this. You're like, Jesus, I should have talked to Dad more. So, and the original of this is now I think it's still there at Ivy Tech, and they've got a little art gallery there. And when it was put up, they had people come and saying, that's very disturbing. You should take that down. Well, if it's disturbing, maybe you got an issue, you know. Here's another one that's not funny, but it's pretty special to me, because the best Father's Day gift ever for both of you. My father fell and broke his spine and was paralyzed from the neck down for 9 months. So he couldn't scratch his own nose. He just sat there. And so perfectly mentally fine. And so there are 5 of us kids. We all decided we're gonna pick his brain. We're gonna find out everything we can about him. And we had a binder, and we talked about World War II days, growing up. What was it like at Lafayette printing? What was it? And that's what this is about. And most of these questions were some of them that I had actually we put on. Did you have a dog? If so, what was his name? Tell me about your best birthday. Do you remember your first TV? How did you meet Mom? Do you remember the day I was born? That was the one. What was your first? Can't read all these. But anyway, did you ever go to circus? Did you ever? I can't read them. What was your first car? Anyway, the point was that my dad loved it. He loved it. We have 9 90-minute tapes of him just talking. It's pretty emotional. So anyway, I had people saying, I wish I'd done that, or I'm going to do that. Sit down with them and tape it or write it, or whatever you got to do if you can. Another one, very sad. February 10th, 2002 was the day Arnie Cohen died. Deluxe pizza, extra super deluxe, giver, lender, friend to everyone in Greater Lafayette. The original list is framed in Arnie's right there in Market Square as you go into the toys attic. Another, this is the last one. This is a terrible one. There was an art teacher from Murdoch that was killed by some screwed up guy who we thought there was some kind of a drug deal going bad, and she knocked at the door and she comes and it's awful, just awful. I mean, it's awful for everybody, including, of course, the kids at school. I don't feel much like drawing anything today. Mind if I just sit here, remember Mrs. Redmond for a while? And when the people came to town, they saw that in the paper, her family, and asked Dave Banger, can they get copies of it? And so, I made him 25 copies of it for him. So it maybe serves the purpose. All right, here's what you're waiting for. The ones that were never printed. Never printed. First one, December 1, 1991. That was right after Thanksgiving. They didn't have Black Friday back then, but you knew it was going to be, you went shopping, it was a big deal. The Journal Courier was huge, full of ads and inserts. And this sort of turned into Bob Kriebel. How to cope with your pre-Christmas Sunday newspaper. Pick it up on, watch your back, use forklift, go directly, dump your inserts into the waste bin. Now, again, we're recycling here. That's good. Recycling. Now pour a cup of coffee and enjoy the paper. So I'm gonna hand it to Bob. He goes, geez, Dave, how do you think you get paid around here? So that never made it in. But I showed it thousands of times. So November 20th, 1994. We're almost done here. You're getting antsy. 1994, the Veterans Home, Soldiers Home, had a review, and they didn't do so well. They cited them on all kinds of things. Matter of fact, the commandant or the head guy there was quit or asked to quit or something. I don't know. But this is the point. One of these points was this one right here. This is true. It mentioned inadequate pest control. Do you think that really is the problem here? She's pulling it down. And so Shirley Ragsdale, and that's who I dealt with then. She said she never say anything. There's always post-it notes. This post-it note says, "We can't stretch the facts quite this far for comic effect. They found flies, not rodents." That's all. So had that been a spoonful of dead flies, would that have been okay? Shirley and I, she lives in Texas today. We're good friends, Facebook friends, and she didn't like the fact that she had to deal with me. And they said, "Hey, she hired me. Oh, by the way, you get this cartoon guy." What? Here's one, October 24th, 1993. Attica gets their first McDonald's. It's a big deal. The high school band's there. They may have let the school out or something. But this is Attica gets his first McDonald's. "I've been here since Thursday. You got to get me on a plane out of here." And Dick Holst was the publisher then, and he happened to see it when I walked in. He goes, "Geez, Dave, you're just mean." Yeah. So that never made it. And how many McDonald's do we have? I don't even know. 10, 20, I don't know. Doesn't matter. May 2nd, 2004. The town of Mulberry had a town. Most small towns have a town marshal. They don't have a police force. Usually a marshal. And there's town marshal pulled a guy over, and he checked him out, found out he had a couple warrants, outstanding warrants. And he goes to tell this guy he's got the warrant. And the guy drives off. What's the marshal do? Shot the car 3 or 4 times. Shot the car for an outstanding warrant. And so why jaywalking is not a problem in Mulberry. I said, "Blam, get back on the blam turbo, man." And that, of course, that did not fly. But the funny thing about it is, again, I did this talk a bazillion times. And one time I did it in Brookston at some Rotary Lions Club, what it was. And that came up, dead silence. What are you saying about town marshals? So note to self, you never show that in a small town ever again. I don't think it's funny. July 14th, 1997, that's when they named the Main Street Bridge, which we still call it that. I don't think it calls the Myers Bridge. It was named after John Myers, our congressman for years. A good guy. And this was the other John Myers Bridge. Now, I'm talking about the Tooth Bridge. And they said, "No, it looks like you're gagging me." And so that didn't make it. And I said, you have any idea how hard it is to draw? I mean, I looked in a mirror. And that's my mouth right there. Oh, no, almost done. Oh, okay. What time is it? April 17, 2011. Dick Lugar's wife, who was not real visible. I mean, he's a wonderful senator, but his wife apparently was in a bowling league, had a couple too many brewskis, and as she left, she sideswiped some guy and then went home. And not a good thing. This was Senator Lugar's Thanksgiving to-do list. Thaw turkey, get mashed potatoes, green beans, casserole, cross out the beer, wine, take car to body shop, find good lawyer for buzzed up wife, plan for awkward moments at upcoming holiday parties. So, and when they said, Dave, let's don't do it. It's not, that never made it. The next one, cut two more. Anybody remember Randy Sanders? Name sound familiar at all? Randy Sanders, you probably know. Randy Sanders was went to Wainwright. Actually, was in my class. I knew him. We were friends. He'd had a rough life. He had been married, divorced. He was disabled. He was in a wheelchair. And when I knew him in high school, he walked with with canes and stuff. And he was trying to raise border collies, but he was raising them in a bin outside, and he wasn't doing it like, I mean, today people's dogs are different than pigs or cows. I mean, it's just the way it is. That's the perception. And so the city or the county was coming down on him all the time. And finally he was he actually spent a week in jail because he was defying them. I'm not doing it, and he called me up and he's, Dave, can you help me out here? I said, Randy, just do what they say. Do you want to go to jail anymore? I mean, just do that stuff. Well, it's tons of business. He just, Randy, calm down. I mean, again, he had a rough life. So anyway, this one was, this, I'm gonna tell you this. Then they said, you have to give us your dog. His dog's name was Spud. You have to give us Spud and have him neutered. So I don't want to do that. What you have to get your dogs. We can't have you breeding these dogs here. And so they came out to pick up Spud. He said, I don't know where he went. Randy, where's Spud? I don't know. And so here's where Spud really went. Was hey, Randy, sorry about the jail thing and all the fines. Doing well here, and thanks for letting me keep the old family jewels. And Dave says, family jewels, man. This was a dog and casserole. Come on. Yeah, but don't use family jewels. And I said, what else is there? Is manhood? I mean, no. So this never did it. This never ran. And and again, I don't know where ran. Maybe he died. He died. Okay. I mean, he was a good guy that just got, some bad luck turns, and he just decided not to pay attention to what police tell you to do something. So not a good move. All right. Almost done here. July 6th, 2008. Gas prices were very high then, just like it is now. And sometimes people just want to get some relief at the pump. And this guy got some. So at that time, Ron Wilkins, who still works at the paper, he was in charge of that. And he says, Dave, you got to fix this. This is a family paper. I said, well, you don't see anything. He said, you got to fix it. I said, how can I fix it? How can I fix it? What's to do? Well, if you can't fix it, we're not gonna run it. Well, don't run it. I mean, whatever. So, and the almost last one. This was again, this had nothing to do with Dave Banner. It had to do with Gannett saying we got to slice and dice here. We got to consolidate this because they were losing ad revenue. It's not about people reading the paper; it's the ad revenue. That's what drives the paper. And so Dave came into me and said, Dave, how long are you going to continue doing this? I said, I don't know. It's not difficult work. It's not heavy lifting. I mean, it's just a pencil, And And he said, well, you're gonna be done this following Sunday. I said, gee, Chris, whew, thanks for the warning. I mean, it wasn't, again, it was those guys, the guys in the suits telling him what to do. And so he says, what are you gonna do? And I said, I guess I'm gonna do a farewell cartoon. And so this was the farewell cartoon that, hi readers, nothing lasts forever. This will be my last cartoon after 49 years. I am thankful for the opportunity to publish 2,433 of them. Hope you like some of them. I wouldn't expect you to like them all. I'd like to hear from your thoughts, and do you have any favorites? Drop me a line at sattlercartoons@gmail.com. I promise I'll write you back because I'll have time. Okay. So I turned it in, and it would have been on Easter Sunday, and pick up the paper, not there. Well, maybe it's a problem. So Monday I called, hey Dave, what's the deal? I can't get past the editors. Well, he says, let me try Tuesday. Tuesday's a low readership day. Okay, try Tuesday. Tuesday comes and goes, not in there. So he said, give me one more time. How about Friday? I said, whatever. I mean, I just want to, I don't want people to think I'm dead or I quit, you know? And so it was supposed to run on a Friday, and it didn't run. And so I said, if you don't run it, I mean, I got to put it on Facebook. And I did. And it was, shared almost 400 times, and readers from all over the place. So it worked. They'd been better off just putting it in the paper. And I think the issue was they were trying to soft pedal the whole deal. Don't make a big deal out of Dave Sattler. Yes, sir. Maybe they're not missing, and so, that's it. Thanks for coming. Here's a shameless plug here. Dave Banner does. How many people are Dave Banner subscribers? I hope. God, thank you. I mean, it's an opportunity to get what you used to get at the paper. You don't get it anymore. He's amazing, and he does very well with that. And he convinced me, Dave, why don't you do the cartoons? I hadn't drawn in 4 years, and it was hard to do that, but he convinced me to do it. So I'm pushing him tonight, and he pushes me. He put it on his page one time. So it's a good deal, and
I have no idea what.
Somebody crashing our party here. Anyway, so now, my mind's free right now. It's free. There'll be a paywall. Here's my deal. We talked about, Jeff was talking about membership. If you consider being a member, I put out 3 books in my lifetime. Here they are. And if you decide you want to join this fine organization and do it, and Kelly's here, Kelly, and you don't have to do it tonight, but within the next week or so, I will send you a book for free. Yes,
Whoa.
free.
Whoa.
This is free. The book's free. Where else is there? And until they run out of, I mean, most of them. I don't have a ton of them left, but that's my trick to bribe you into joining here. So, are there any questions, Mr. Leckrant?
If you already have those 3 books, could I get that bottle of land?
It's gone, long gone. Yes,
When did color come into play, and how'd you deal with it?
good question. A good artist would ask that question. About 2006, when they put the press in. Prior to that, it was still fundamentally a letterpress press. It was a web press, but when they were down here, when they built the building out there, they said, say, Dave, you got to have these in color. What? You got to do them in color. I don't know how to do that. And so I took a class at Ivy Tech on Photoshop, and it was an 8-week class. And the first night, 15 minutes. So that's all I wanted to know. It's all about the layer being a multiply. Multiply is if it's blue and yellow, it's going to be green. The lines are black, so you put whatever color over it, the black always shows through. So it's a piece of cake. And so, but I said, well, that for the same money? And I go, well, why? I said, well, that's another hour. It could be. So I had to negotiate some more money out of them. I kind of enjoyed the color, although I look back to black and white ones, I think, man, you could do a lot with just with one color like that, with some shading. So it was very good. Any other? Dying to know. Go, yes.
What
Go on.
was the 9/11 cartoon that didn't get printed?
Where is it?
What was the topic of it? You didn't show it.
I'm not going to show it. No, again, Dave Sattler, Nancy Sattler. It was an attempt to try to lighten up the mood. And it was too early. It's too early. I mean, you could have done that 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, might have been okay. But it was the Sunday after the Tuesday. Tuesday is when it happened. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Dave says, no, buddy, not at all. Don't even think about it. And so I said, well, I can run home. I mean, I can draw it at Lafayette, print all the stuff's at home. So I go home and 2 hours later brought one back in. And even that one was because people didn't know, they didn't go to a football game, they didn't know what that was all about. So anything else? Ms. Byers.
Since you're now back drawing and gave us Mr. Banger was part of the negotiation that he can no longer edit you.
Well, we're all in this free agency thing, but he was a good one. He would catch when I used to, in addition to the color, I started doing all the lettering in Photoshop because prior to that, all that's hand lettered stuff. And you draw this out. Well, okay, it doesn't fit right. Oh crap, you can either rewrite it or try to cut it apart. In Photoshop, I can make the words any size, any font, whatever you want, just like that. And so that saved amount of time. But when you're hand drawing them, you're not spelling. Not that I'm a good speller anyway. You're drawing words. You're drawing letters. That's how I'm explaining why I misspelled so many things. So, but no, Dave and I mean, I'm sorry he's not here because if you don't know him, he's a good guy. I know he felt bad about. Well, first of all, I'm not the only one that got nuked. I mean, he got nuked too. He was doing the editorial page, gone, cartoon, gone, and so anyway. Yes.
Did you ever consider, or have you ever done any other art form? Besides your cartoon?
One time I took a drawing class at the art center. It was like 3 weeks or something, and so the gal teaching it, she said, "Aren't you Dave Sattler?" I said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I want to learn how to draw." "Well, you know how to draw?" I said, "Well, I don't draw like you draw. I mean, I want to draw like drawers draw." And so she set up a little apple and a pear and a vase and a flower. Still life, that's the word. Well, still life. Okay, draw this. And so I said, okay. So I drew a border. I said, "What's the border for?" So you gotta have a border. I said, "No, you don't need a border." No. Oh yeah. I guess I don't need a border. And that still life looked exactly like a cartoon version of that still life. So I don't know. I would love to. My brother is an art teacher in Maine, and he is amazing. So there's a little bit of that in the genes. I think my grandmother was a very good painter, and my dad's was a pretty good artist. He didn't do much of it. So, but could I? It's a little late now for me to say. I think I want to take up. I don't know. I would like to try something else. I really would. I think, but anyway. My brother's like this. I'm like this little narrow thing. Any more? Yes.
Your artwork distributed more widely, or was it only for the JNC?
Well, most of the topics obviously were for JNC, but we had a sign for Gannett. Gannett could use them elsewhere, and I've seen them elsewhere. The thematic ones, the Memorial Day ones, or the Father's Day. Some of those I've seen them in numerous papers. All you have to do is Google Dave Sattler cartoons, and then not anymore, but now they'd show up all these papers. So they were using them. I didn't get a dime for that, of course not. Betty Nelson. What?
You did a lot, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I did tons. I'm gonna get you, Betty. Don't leave. I did a lot of work with John Purdue Club and Purdue Alumni Association. I mean, I probably drew Purdue Pete 50 times. whatever, I mean, the magazine, Purdue Alumnus Magazine, I was always doing illustrations for them there. And anytime there's any kind of a promotional piece, just back when you started printing things, Rita Zawisha, who you may know, she was in charge of those kind of events at John Purdue Club. And I did all their work for them there. So, Betty.
Just so everybody can hear and remember this, what's going to happen to all those cartoons when you clean out the files in the basement and the attic? Where are they going so others can enjoy them later?
All those cartoons had to be sorted. I mean, I just threw them in a box. I mean, 2,000 cartoons, boom, boom, boom. And I take them out, throw them back in. They were in no order. So we had grandkids. That chair over there is 2007. That's 2000. They were just putting them by year. Then we had to put them in month because the Purdue Archives is taking them. And now we started this probably 3 or 4 years ago. They would not take them unless I cataloged them. So that means you have to, as you all know, there's a certain code way, the date. It said these are worthless to us if we don't know what's in there or how to get to it. Okay, so it would be 2006, 02. 12. Oh yeah. Scanned 2,000 cartoons. I had them scanned. I sent them to Indianapolis and they were scanned because I'd be one at a time. This had a mechanical scanning arrangement down there. So anyway, yeah, all 2,000 of them were scanned. Again, a lot of them are missing because we're giving away. I used to give them away to auctions and fundraisers. They'd auction them off, and of course you can't take any of that off your taxes because the IRS says, I found this out from actually Charles Werner, Indianapolis Star cartoonist. He says, you know, you give these cartoons away and they sell them for $100. You don't get squat. You get the paper, the value of the paper. Rita, that's right. Rita, that's right. That's all you get. So what many cartoonists would do is take their collection and give it to another cartoonist and give his cartoon to you. And now you have a cartoon of John Smith and his worth is this much. And I gave that to, you can't give your own art away and call it's $1,000 donation. You can't do that. They're not that stupid. But anyway, I probably have, I mean, it takes forever. And I just go down there and, after, an hour, I'm just, because you're looking at the thing and you have this code. The code would be WL, West Lafayette, tip code, county, if it has something to do with county, Katy, Tiller, football, UPF football, Purdue football. I mean, it has to tell them if somebody's looking for something, anything to do with city government, money, if it had anything to do with money. I mean, so it just takes forever. And I wish I was done with it. And I wish I could have other people help me, but nobody else can do it because they'd have to say, well, what is this? What was this about? So but once they're out of the house, we'll be happy, won't we? They're under beds, they're under the beds and stuff. And so, okay. Any more questions?
What was your favorite cartoon ever?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm not just saying this. Once you did them, turn it in Friday morning. By Sunday, you're going, you look at it. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, sometimes bigger, sometimes smaller. And then by Monday, you're going, I'm thinking about the next week. So Monday, you're going, okay, what's going on today that could hold till Sunday? Not very much, maybe something big. And if there's a follow-up story on Tuesday, this is good. Letter to the editor. This is really good. I mean, it's building up. So the issue that I face now with Dave Sattler Substack is I don't know what you people know. I mean, I don't know where you get your news. And if I'm glad to see a lot of bangers because I know what that is. I can see that. But back in the day, I would take the papers and lay them out on the table and go, okay, that story, that's not bad. That's not bad. And you'd try to figure out what people knew because 46,000 people, 46,000 copies, 92,000 eyes, 92,000 people saw could have seen the story and it worked. I mean, some of the little stories about the crows, I mean, that was a big deal in the paper. But if we had crow problem now, who would know that? Because I don't know everybody. Nobody reads the same thing, I don't think. If I knew that, I mean, I do go to TV 18 thinking, oh, they got pretty good readership. What are they, what are they talking about? So.
We pick up in the office on our Thursday morning meetings. What do you guys?
Right.
what's going on?
Yeah, I worked downtown, and so I was involved in a lot of organizations and customers. And I'd say, and they'd say, yeah, how about this one? How about this one? They throw out ideas. Now, Kriebel was a classic. Kriebel not only had ideas, Kriebel would sketch them out for them. The guy standing over here, and he's saying this. Go, okay, Bob. Okay. All right. Okay. I mean, everybody wants to be a part of that. And what I really appreciate is what they knew about. They would tip me off. I was one about the assessor's office hadn't got some kind of tax bill out, and they were asking you to pay the bill ahead of time just because they didn't get it out. And somebody said, you got to do something about that. I went, yeah, that's pretty, yeah, that's a good one. Because just somebody in somebody's office mentioned that. So it's been very helpful. So anymore.
Good job, sir.
Thank you all for coming.
Where can you buy the book?
There might some be over the Main Street bookstore, but I don't know. I mean, you could, these used to sell for $10. I would give them away when I gave talks. I did this at Rotary a couple of times. I'd say, look, the book was $10. I don't need the $10. I'll give you the book, but you have to promise me that you'll take that $10 and give it to somebody that needs it more than you do, or I. And I don't mean the bartender or your or tipping somebody that you're knickerbocker. I mean, that's not what we're talking about. Somebody that really needs it. And they would come in, and one guy, you know, I'm gonna tell you who it is. He got $2, he had $20. It's $20. He took $20 and gave somebody walking through Walmart or Big Lots. And the lady started crying. Because, what's this for? No reason. Here's $20. What? $20? I mean, it's a big deal to some people, $20. And so I don't need or want the money. If I did anything at all, this is why I'm giving the books away. So you join, that's my pitch here, so that if you're thinking about joining, do it. And it's $35, you get a free book, Yes.
On that note, Pete was nice enough to put a dish up there, and if you're interested in supporting the TCHA in a different capacity, please drop some coin in there, okay?
Here it is.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
This was recorded. It will be up on our YouTube channel later in the week. Thank you all. Don't forget the membership brochure. Don't forget Dave. I'll be glad to have you.
Saturday night.
Not you.
It's
No, I don't know.
No,